Hello students. Now today we are going to discuss about good health. And when we don't have good health, we have disease. So how do we know we have good health? Your skin will be shiny, your eyes will be shiny, your breath will be fine, it won't be smelly, your nose will be clear, you will have a good appetite, you'll eat well, and you will pass urine and excreta, bowel movements will be normal. So that then you know you are healthy. Supposing some problem is there with any of these functions, then there is a disease. Means you are not at ease. Sometimes all this will be normal, but still you will be not at ease, dis-ease. It might be sometimes mental health. Mentally you will not be fit due to stress or something else. So you should know how to manage your stress. Especially during exam you feel very stressed. So what you have to do is study each and every day. Make a timetable of studying each and every day so no stress will be there. And you'll be fine. So you have to study how you are going to be healthy and fine mentally and physically and functionally, metabolically, everything should be fine. So the food which you eat should be balanced diet. Carbohydrate, that is roti and rice. Protein you should have, dal you should have, and lots of vegetables. Vegetables, they have vitamins and minerals which keep you fit and healthy. And remember, you should not eat anything in excess, and especially junk food you should avoid. Kids, they have the tendency to have junk food because that gives happiness, but that takes away the nutrient from your body and gives you disease because you become sort of malnourished, because junk food is made up of not of wheat, of maida. Maida does not have B vitamin. So you might have sort of mental, your nerves may not be developed, your memory will be less, your mental health will have problem. So junk food should be avoided. Good food, good mental and physical health. So let's study what type of disease we have. We can have or people have in general disease and hygiene. Hygiene is very important to be healthy. Why? Because if I don't wash my hands, all the germs will go through my mouth. They will go through my nose. If I don't wash my face properly, the germs will be going through the nose. So hygiene is very important. If I don't wear clean clothes, I might have skin disease. If I don't take bath every day, again I might have various problems like skin disease. So hygiene, very important. Keeping yourself and the environment clean is very important. The food which you eat, clean utensils, and the vegetables should be peeled, all the dirt removed properly. All this hygiene very important for good health. So let's study in detail what type of disease can be caused and how we are going to avoid that, or how can we get cured. Because there is medicine for every for every disease. Now, health is defined as a state of complete physical, mental and social well-being. You have energy, you are able to work hard, you are able to interact with people, you can, when you are leisuring, then you should be at ease. So all those interacting with people also should be right, should be good for your social well-being and not merely in absence of disease. So you might not have disease, but still if you're not able to be socially, your social well-being is not good, you are diseased. You have to be socially good. So this is what in general. But disease is of two types. Classified as two types. Communicable, that is if I am having, the other person will have quickly, and the other person is having, I'll have. Communicable, that is mainly due to the pathogen. Pathogen is the disease causing organism. So we'll study that in detail. Before that, we'll study non-communicable disease, which cannot be communicated. If I have that disease, it won't be communicated to other person. So, which are those diseases which are non-communicable? Metabolic disease means the metabolism of that substance does not take place, and the classic example is diabetes. You take sugar and the metabolism does not take place, so you have that sugar in your blood, which will cause harm to the body. So you will not take the sugar, but that is not the answer. If you are diseased with sugar, it is known as diabetes and it is known as metabolic disease. Now, if you have calcium-rich food, then sometimes it might get accumulated in the kidney stone. It is not metabolized properly, so the stones are there in the kidney. It will cause pain, it will cause harm. So these two are the classic example of metabolic disorder. Genetic. What we are is what is there in the genes. The coding for each and everything is there in the genes. So supposing we have 40 genes, you might have that genetic disease. And there are various genetic diseases, but few are given, so you have to study in your textbook, so you have to study that. Hemophilia. Hemophilia is a genetic disease, and as the name suggests, you know it has something to do with the blood, because study of blood is known as hematology. Hemophilia, the blood is not able to clot. Normally when there is a small cut, the blood clots and the flowing of the blood stops after few minutes. But in hemophilia, the blood does not clot. So the person might die just due to the flow of the blood. Now another genetic disease, that is thalassemia. Thalassemia, the protein, that is hemoglobin, that's a protein which catches the oxygen to supply to each and every cell of the body. That protein is not developed. So this patient has to given blood artificially to sustain, because genetically they are not able to produce that protein which will catch hold of oxygen and supply to each and every cell of the body. So these two are genetic disease, that is hemophilia, blood clotting does not take place. Thalassemia, the protein which takes away oxygen is not produced. Then allergies. People have various types of allergies, and that is inbuilt. Different people have different allergies. You might be allergic to dust. You might be allergic, dust can be paper dust, can be cotton dust, various dust. And then some pollen, some spore, so many things we might be allergic to, which will cause coughing, nausea, then discomfort in the digestive system, can cause various problems. Hay fever and asthma. Now this hay fever, you have coughing and your nose block, running nose, all those associated symptoms will be there in the hay fever, and it all normally happens when there is a change in the atmosphere from warm to cold. Asthma is respiratory problem. You will have difficulty in breathing, and your bronchioles, your lungs will be choked. So asthma is allergy. Due to allergies, you will have asthma. Because when you are allergic to supposing dust, it goes into the lung and it secretes mucus. Mucus blocks your lungs and you have difficulty in breathing during asthma. Then, where people are very poor, they will have dietary deficiency. Those who are well off, they'll try to eat nutrient, they'll try to have good food. But people where they are very poor, they will have dietary deficiency disease. And the example is very scurvy. In very, the degeneration of nerve takes place here and many other related problems. In scurvy, your bleeding of gums and your skin will tear because very is caused due to deficiency of vitamin B and scurvy is caused due to deficiency of vitamin C. C, very important to have lot of fresh fruits and vegetables because otherwise you will suffer from scurvy. Then cancer. Cancer might be genetic disease or it can be caused by carcinogen. The substance which can cause cancer like paints, artificial coloring substance, radiation, they can cause cancer. So cancer can be of any part, but in general the cancer can be breast cancer, leukemia is the blood cancer. So all this cancer can be caused by various cancer causing agents. Then mental illness is depression. Sometimes some stress might cause depression and there is medicine for depression also. So nobody should have mental illness, depression. You go to a doctor and get well soon, supposing you have. Now, sometimes there is physical and chemical change. What is chemical change? If some insects will bite or poisonous snake, then poison will be, that's a chemical which will go into your body and will cause chemical change. Now, extreme, physical means in extreme condition, when it's very hot, it will cause sunburn, heat stroke, that is when it's very hot. And same way, when it's very cold, it can cause physical change. So physical and chemical change can cause disease. You're not at ease. And as you grow old, as a person grows old, each and every organ starts degenerating. And that time person gets cataract, pain in the leg, pain in the hand. These are disease due to old age. That is, the organs are slowing down. So all this disease are caused by this. They are non-communicable. It won't be transferred from one person to another. It will remain with that person only. So now we go to the communicable disease. Now before studying the communicable disease, let us study about the dietary deficiency disease. What happens when you don't have certain nutrient in our body? What disease can be caused? So most important, you can say protein. Protein. You have to have carbohydrate, fats, protein. Now protein has to be present in our body because if protein is absent in our body, various disease and especially in small children who are deficient of protein, their muscles will not be developed. They will look malnourished without muscles development. Degeneration of muscle will take place if you do not have sufficient amount of protein. And the disease cause is marasmus. Marasmus, where the child will be thin and skinny. Then due to deficiency of protein, there is washerkar, in which the child will not look thin, but there will be water retention in the body, but the child will not develop muscles, will not be healthy. Now, what happens when there is deficiency of certain vitamins and what and how you can get, through which food will get that vitamin. So vitamins are given certain chemical name. Few are given which you have to learn. They are very important for your diet. A, vitamin A, retinol. The name itself says that your retina will get affected if you don't have sufficient amount of vitamin A. So retinol. And what will happen? You'll have eye problem. Night blindness. Night blindness is at night you won't be able to see properly. So night blindness. In extreme condition, when there's no retinol, you don't have good food, then your retina will just crumble and blindness will cause. In extreme case. But to have healthy eyes, you should have yellow fruits and carrot. In your salad, you should always have carrot. It's orange and yellow, two types of carrots which are rich in vitamin A. If you have sufficient amount of carrot, then you have lot of vitamin A. Yellow fruits like mango and various fruits which are yellow in color, they will have vitamin A. Now, places where they don't have whole grain. What is whole grain? Even when the cover is there, brown rice, that is whole grain. But if you eat polished rice, basmati polished rice branded, then you are deprived of this vitamin because during polishing that vitamin is removed. So you should always have brown rice, rice which is not polished. And when you have product made up of maida, you have paratha made up of maida, then all this vitamin is gone because that is refined. All that brown color vitamin is removed, and most of the tasty items, they are made up of maida. So if you are having junk food, remember that at least once you have healthy food to get all these vitamins. Whole grain, then egg, nuts like groundnuts, badam, pista, whatever nuts, legumes. All dals are legumes, so you have ample amount of dal in your diet. And growing children require more protein for their development of muscles and for various functions. Protein is basic. Then vitamin B3. The disease caused is beriberi. If you don't have this in sufficient amount, beriberi is caused. Now, degeneration of muscles takes place, skin does not develop properly, and you feel restless, you mentally and physically are not fit, well, that is beriberi. And here, the conditions are very much similar in Niacin B3, pellagra. Pellagra, the skin, it gets crumbled and you will see neck, webbed neck, and all the skin will be coming out and they will be degenerating. So, dermatitis means skin disorders will be caused. Now, if you want to avoid this, you have to eat, have milk, egg, and if possible, meat, liver, etc. Then vitamin C, that is ascorbic acid. These are the scientific name of these vitamins. So ascorbic acid, you have fresh fruits and vegetable and you get the vitamin C. But if you are cooking vegetable, that time at high temperature, the vitamin C evaporates. So see that if you are having fruits, well and good. Otherwise, you have a lot of salad in your diet. It will consist of vitamin C. Ascorbic acid. Extreme conditions, scurvy. Again, scurvy means it will start with bleeding of gums. Your epithelial tissue is not healthy. It will go on and on. Your overall well-being will be disturbed. So scurvy means it starts with bleeding of gums. Supposing you have bleeding of gums, you see that you have not been having sufficient amount of vitamin C. So this vitamin is water soluble and excess amount will be going through your urine. But if you don't, it's not stored. So you have to have continuously fresh fruits and vegetables to build up that vitamin C requirement. To suffice the requirement, you have to have fresh fruits and vegetables every day. Now, excess amount won't harm. Vitamin C will give you a lot of energy. Citrus fruit, tomatoes, that will give you instant vitamin C. Then vitamin D, calciferol. Calciferol. It is important for us adult, but small children, if they don't have this vitamin, then their bones will be soft, develop soft, like green steak. You can just make it, give the shape as you want. Why? Because there's no vitamin D. Vitamin D helps in absorption of calcium, which will build the bones. So, small child, it should not be kept inside. They should be given sunlight so that vitamin D they get vitamin D, and which will carry the calcium to make their bones strong. So, sunlight is very important. But in places where sunlight is not present, they get through animal product, milk, butter, meat, and so on. Now, I'll just show you some pictures given in your textbook which will help you to understand this disease better. Now, a child which is protein deficient will look like this. Marasmus. It is not getting sufficient amount of protein. Therefore, the child looks like this. Even this child is not having sufficient protein. But still it looks bulky. It does not look skinny because of the retention of water. So this disease which has retained water in spite of the deficiency of protein is known as Kwashiorkor. Kwashiorkor. K is silent, Kwashiorkor. Marasmus, Kwashiorkor, classic example of protein deficiency. A child does not get sufficient amount of milk, therefore they develop this disease. Mineral deficiency disease. Supposing you don't have that mineral sufficient in your body, then you will have various problems, various diseases. Calcium is very important. If you don't have calcium, some children, they don't like to have milk, but they should have milk because they will be deficient of protein and calcium both. So, what will happen if there is no not sufficient amount of calcium? The bones will be brittle and weak. This they will have. When they go to play, they will have the tendency to have fracture more because their bones will be brittle. They want their bones to be strong, then they have to have sufficient amount of calcium. Now, non-vegetarian foods, they contain sufficient amount of calcium, meat, fish and all those things. But vegetarian diet, milk, green vegetables also consist of calcium. So, eggs, meat, fish, non-vegetarian diet, and milk, green vegetables for vegetarian diet. You will get sufficient amount of calcium, your bones will be strong, not brittle, you will not have fracture, and you will be able to play well. Now, sodium and potassium. They are necessary for the movement of the muscles. If you don't have sufficient amount of sodium and potassium, you will have problem in the movement of the muscles. Dehydrated, you will feel external weakness and pain in the muscle contraction. So you are walking and doing various activities will be with difficulty. Again, all the sodium, potassium you get in the salt, and you'll have from fruits, seafood and table salt. Table salt is the salt which you eat in food. You'll get all this, and fruits, seafood. Supposing you don't have table salt, but you have fruits, then you will get those sodium and potassium. And of course, seafood will also have sodium and potassium. Iron. Iron is necessary for building up muscles. It is necessary for red blood corpuscles, hemoglobin, that will carry the oxygen. So if you're deficient in oxygen, you're deficient in iron, you'll be deficient in oxygen. Why? Because your RBCs are not healthy. You won't be able to get that oxygen. Your body won't be able to get the oxygen. And therefore, in extreme case, when you don't get iron for a long time, you'll have anemia. Anemia means your ear, it will be whitish, not reddish. Your nails will be whitish, and you will look pale yellow. And in extreme condition, you might fall down because of lack of oxygen. Now, it's very easy to get iron. Eat green leafy vegetables. Green leafy vegetables, they are rich in iron, and the children normally they don't like to have green leafy vegetable, but that's healthy. Even if you don't like to try to have this vegetable for your mental physical well-being, because no oxygen, your mental well-being will not be good. Now iodine you require for your metabolism, for your growth. Sometimes what happens, the plants, they store iodine but they don't use the iodine, and we require iodine. So we get from the plant, but in hilly region the plant does not have iodine, so they are deficient, and normally they get goiter. Goiter is swelling in the neck. So if you are deficient in iodine, see people who live along the sea coast won't have this deficiency, but people living in hilly region might have this problem of goiter. So iodine, if you don't have, you'll have goiter. How you can get salt, iodized salt you can have? Seafood contains iodine. So all this nutrients which are required for your mental and physical well-being. Why I say mental? Because your mental means your brain, and your brain is healthy when you're physically healthy. All those nutrients which is required by the body is required by the brain also. Keep your body, brain healthy for your mental and physical well-being. So avoid this disease. This is in your hand. Eat good food, don't eat junk food, and you'll be healthy. Now we go to communicable disease, and which is caused by the germs. Now disease caused by the viruses. Viruses are very tiny microorganisms. When they enter our body, they become active and they cause many disease. Viruses, they cause many diseases. Now let us see which diseases are caused by the viruses. And when the viruses they enter our body immunity system fights with them, and they develop the immunity for that virus, and we are not infected by the same virus again. But it's very painful when it enters and causes disease. Especially among the small children, moms, it is the parotid gland. One of the salivary gland gets swelled, and there's a swelling here. You can feel like a double chin. Especially among small children, this mumps is caused. There is a swelling down like a double chin, and it's a painful swelling. The child is very uncomfortable, cries because there's pain. And you don't want to spread this disease. This viral diseases, they spread with contact. When you are there with the person, the other person is almost sure to get that disease. Such is the speed of the virus. So what we do is we isolate that person. Small children, they cannot be isolated. They have to be there with the parents. But the other child in the house has to be kept away from that child so they don't get mumps. So it is droplets, direct contact from the patient, or things which you use like towel, combs, all those things can also carry the virus. So you have to avoid using those things. You have to keep separate for the patient. Mumps, droplet, direct contact from an article used by the patient, painful swelling of parotid gland, and isolation or vaccine of mumps can be given before, if the spread of mumps. If the vaccine is given, then it does not cause the disease. Now poliomyelitis, polio drops. The government has worked very hard to eradicate this polio. So we have very rare cases, but it is in people living in unhygienic condition, contaminated food, and spread to the flies. Flies will sit on the garbage, they'll sit on the excreta and then sit on the food. They transfer those virus which causes polio, and then healthy child will also have polio. Child from 1 to 5 years is prone to this disease. They'll get fever, and then slowly the paralysis of the leg muscle will take place and it will not develop, so the child will be handicapped for life. So that is why immunization is given for polio, and hygiene has to be kept. It has to be so that you are not contaminated with the microorganisms, with the fecal matter. Limbs and muscles are paralyzed. Here again, isolation of the person. If the child is suffering from fever, the child has to be isolated. But you have to keep in mind that keeping hygiene is the best way to avoid this disease, because once the disease is caused, the child is handicapped for life. Now, rabies, it is caused by the dogs. Dog will have this rabies, and they will become mad. Mad dog, you say. Pagal kutta ne kata. This is the saying because of rabies are found in dog. Mad dog bite. It bites in healthy person. The rabies microorganism are transferred in the healthy person, and the person gets rabies. And its ultimate death. They will fear water, and it is going to cause ultimate death. How you have to avoid is give immunization to the dog itself. Now pet dogs, they are given immunization, so you are safe from the pet dogs. And anti-rabies, supposing the dog bites, you don't know whether that dog is having rabies. Wild dog, you're not knowing whether it has rabies or not. You go to the doctor, they'll give some 7 injections, one after other, and you won't be having rabies then. So you should avoid this dog for avoiding this rabies. Then a number of viral disease. Smallpox. Now it is eradicated. Nobody is having smallpox, but previously people used to get smallpox. They are like pustules which will have contamination. If another child comes in contact with the person suffering from smallpox, they will also have measles. Here nose will flow, throat infection, and watery or red eyes. All this will be the symptoms for measles. Then jaundice. Jaundice will be caused by the contaminated water. It will affect the liver. Since liver is affected, some pigment will be released, so that our eyes will become yellow, hands will become yellow, urine will become yellow, and takes a lot of time to heal from jaundice. And it is caused due to the contamination in food and water. So you have to be careful with the contamination. Now, a child which suffers from smallpox looks like this. There are pustules throughout the body, and the other child, when it comes in contact, it transfers the viruses to the other child, and the other child will also suffer from this smallpox. Now, after this viral disease, and some disease which is caused by bacteria. These are different microorganisms. Viruses are completely different. Some common disease which is caused by bacteria. Now here, the diseases which are caused by bacteria, they are given here. Cholera. How it is transmitted. Transmitted means how it goes into the person. How it goes from one person to other, or how it goes into the person, maybe from water, food, whatever. So contaminated means which is in which the microorganism is there. So water, if it is there in the water or it is there in the food, or a person suffering from cholera, or might be hand, and if it gives the food with that dirty hand, the other person will get this disease. So it is from contaminated food and water. Bacteria will require water. Viruses, without water also they will be there, but bacteria will require water. So contaminated food and water will transfer this disease, cholera. What will happen? It is an intestinal disease. It will go into the intestine and it will go into the digestive system, and you will have vomiting, which is white, watery vomiting. And the stool also will be watery, means पानी जैसा stool होगा. Stool is toilet. Toilet will be watery, not solid but watery. So there will be vomiting and loose motion in case of cholera. So how do we avoid this? We should have good water, and boiled water is the best water for our well-being. Then tetanus. What happens in tetanus? You have the jaw, they become hard. You are not able to chew food. So ultimately if you don't eat, then you are going to die. So here tetanus, how it enters? Through the wound. It enters through the open wound. So whenever there is a wound, keep it clean, keep it, put bandage, keep it covered, so that these microorganisms are not able to enter this open wound. What will happen? Contraction of muscle will not take place. Jaw is locked due to the painful contraction of jaw and neck muscle. So this neck muscle and ear, they will contract and relaxation will not take place. So it will be locked jaw. And sometimes the tetanus injection not given to the mother, the child which is born is with the tetanus and they have locked jaws, they are not able to take in milk and they might die. So immunization for tetanus very necessary, given to the mother. Anti-tetanus injection. Anti-tetanus injection can be given, and keeping the wounds clean is the prevention or the treatment. You can say for anti-tetanus injection is the treatment for tetanus. Now typhoid. Again it is caused, most of this bacterial disease is caused by contaminated food and water. What is contamination? When those microorganisms are present in food and water, it is contaminated.